We've walked through how to make the strongest sword and the strongest armor in all the mods 10. In this video, I'm going to show you how to not have to be close to something to kill it, and instead be able to be far away by making the strongest bow you can make in all the mods 10. This thing's crazy, does an insane amount of damage, but before we get to that, I need to address the elephant in the room. Yes, I went outside yesterday, I touched grass, I went golfing, I got a lot of sun. That is why my face looks like a tomato. Second, even bigger elephant in the room is, yes, I'm actually going to be doing some things with silent gear today, which is absolutely crazy, and it's not necessarily a mod I enjoy. It's something that's a little bit more complicated than I'm usually used to, but I think it's going to help you a lot. So we're going to do it. I think I have the combinations for all of the different parts completely maxed out, but if there's anything I missed, please feel free to tell me that. Just take it easy on me a little bit. I'm not super great with silent gear yet, but I'm going to try my best to make this the most helpful video you can possibly have. Also worth noting that this setup takes a lot of inspiration from a video that Epic Enchants did on all the mods 8. There are some differences, some new alloys that exist, some old ones that don't anymore, but I figured since I got a lot of the information from that, I would shout out that video as well. One last thing before we get started, this is not a how-to guide for silent gear. If you're looking for that, my buddy Hellfire Mage just put out an incredible video on that as well. It'll be linked down in the description, but without any further interruptions, don't forget to like and subscribe. Well, let's get into it. Before I get too far into today's video, I do need to tell you about the sponsor of the video, which is BerryByte. If you're looking to host a reliable server at a reasonable price, BerryByte is the platform for you. They make setting up a modded Minecraft server as easy as it can possibly be with instant one-click setup. They use super fast Ryzen 9 CPUs and have automatic backups baked into the servers, so you don't even have to go through the process of getting the extra mod and configure it yourself. To make your experience the best it can possibly be, they offer server locations all over the world so that you can have the smallest amount of latency possible, and they offer numerous different CPU and RAM configurations so that you can pick exactly what you need. And if you reach a point where you realize you need more RAM, you can always upgrade. For all the mods 10 specifically, it's recommended that you have at least 6 gigs of RAM. Now, to put the icing on the cake and make this even more affordable for you, you can use code JOHNHALL at checkout to save $5 or JOHNHALL20 to save 20%. Thank you so much, BerryByte. Let's get back to the video. It's worth mentioning that I'm pretty far along in this world. We got a lot of stuff set up already, so I have access to a lot of resources, and because of that, I was able to automate a lot of the stuff for silent gear really easily. So we have automated Crimson Iron, Blaze Gold, Crimson Steel, as well as the Azure Electrum ingots. Now, there are several of these things like the Azure Silver and the Crimson Iron that I actually set up seeds for so that I could get it automatically, and those two actually lead to the Crimson Steel and the Azure Electrum ingots. The only other resource we're going to be really needing for this is this Tyrian steel. That's pretty easy to make as long as you have what I just talked about, as well as shulker shells. You can take the shulker shells and smash them on a stone anvil, and then to make the Tyrian steel, all you're really looking at is going into one of the alloy forges, putting in a Crimson Steel, an Azure Electrum, the shulker shell, and then a netherite scrap. And that'll make you 4 Tyrian steel ingots. You're gonna need a little bit of that for the setup that I'm gonna be showing you today, so I figured it was worth mentioning. Now, these are all the materials you're gonna need. These are all the blueprints you're gonna need. Let's walk through them each individually, one by one. Then I'm gonna walk you through exactly how to set it up and actually create the bow itself. For the actual bow, the bow template, we're gonna be using an alloy made of Tyrian steel and refined obsidian ingots. These refined obsidian ingots are actually from Mechanism, but they work really well with the Tyrian steel. I've seen some other ones where you also include some Azure Electrum. However, that dramatically reduces the amount of damage it does. So I would recommend going with this alloy right here. For the tool rod, we're using Lumium, Crimson Steel, and Uranium. For the cord, we're going to be using String and Sinew. For our coating template, we're going to be using an alloy of Netherite and Gold. For the tip, we're going to be using an alloy of Redstone Dust, Glowstone Dust, and Iron. For the grip, we're going to be using a Phantom Membrane. And for the binding, we're going to be using Fine Silk. Now, those are all the items you need for just the bow itself. However, we're also going to be making some really high damage arrows that we're going to use with the bow to just, again, dramatically increase the amount of damage we're going to do. All right, now for the arrows themselves, we're going to be using a mixture of Tyrian steel again and Azure Electrum. For the tool rod, we're going to be using a mixture of Lumium, Crimson Steel, and Azure Electrum. For the fletching, it'll just be spruce leaves, and for the coating, once again, Netherite and Gold. Now, I've already got some of those alloys created, but just to show you how to do it, we're going to take our Tyrian steel and our refined obsidian ingots. And it is important to note that the order I have these in actually does matter as far as the stats that each alloy will come out with. So make sure to add your Tyrian steel first, your refined obsidian right after, and then you can use the time wand and speed this up a little bit. So you now have the 4 Tyrian steel alloys that you're going to need. Now we're going to do 2 other things to these alloys. These alloys are going to go through the material grader. We need to send at least 3 through because we're going to need 3 for the template that makes this bow. So in here, this material grader, we basically have to put in a catalyst. This tier 3 catalyst basically allows it to upgrade the grade on each of these Tyrian steels. Now I already have 2 of these completely finished, so I'm just going to do 1 here. But you throw it in and it'll start working through this. Now the reason I have the pipes here is because this guy pulls it out from the output side of this and then throws it right back in so that it basically just cycles until it gets to the highest grade. Speed that up a little bit, and it does take quite a bit of this glittery dust to actually get it to the max level. So it's probably recommended to go get some nether bananas are really the only thing that you need to have like on hand for this. So I'd recommend to go get some of those. So there's our max grade material. Next up, we're going to take this material and we're going to take it to our Starlight Charger. Now this is just a 7x7 block setup. The only things that are important here is that the Starlight Charger is in the center and that there are posts on each of the 4 corners 2 high with a block of Tyrian steel right on top of that. With all of this in place, this guy will start charging up. Now you can throw in your Tyrian steel alloy and it will start charging using the charge from the moonlight to basically bring this up to star charged 3, which is what we're looking for. So you have 3 Tyrian steel alloys that are max grade and all have star charge 3, which increases their stats tremendously. Then we are going to take all 3 of those alloys, throw them in a crafting terminal with our bow template, and get our bow part. So what we're going to do is follow that exact same process for every single one of the alloys here. We'll take the aluminum, the crimson steel, and the uranium, throw it into the alloy forge, take all of that, grade it to the highest grade, take it down and star charge it, and we'll get these guys here, combine it with our rod template, and we'll get this guy. Now the cord is a little bit different. You need to take your string and your sinew fibers, which is just sinew that's been thrown through a furnace and then crafted into fibers. We're going to take it to a refabricator. From there, we're going to throw all of it inside of here, and it will start making this mixed fabric for us. Now you're going to need at least 3 of this mixed fabric to create what we're trying to here. So run it through a couple times. Then you can grab your cord blueprint, throw it in a crafting terminal with your 3 string sinew mixed fabric, and that'll get you your cord. Next up, the coating for netherite and gold. It looks like you have to turn the netherite and the gold into an alloy. So we're going to go ahead and do that real quick. And then we will also go ahead and max level both of these. And then once they're both done, we'll star charge them as well. All right, both max grade, throw them both in there. Time wand it, and they're both now fully star charged. Now we do need 2 of these exact same coatings, so I'm actually going to grab both patterns, and then we throw our ingot in the middle, and then we're good to go. So there's our coating. Next up, we have the tip, which is going to be redstone, glowstone, and iron. We'll let it go ahead and build that. We're going to, again, get all of those to the max level grading. And I'm sure you can tell having a time wand here makes this a lot easier. So if you want to know how to make that, I did make a video on how to make the time wand. All right, now we finished star charging the redstone alloy. We also star charged our phantom membrane and our fine silk and got both of those up to the max tier. So with our tip upgrade, we're going to throw in our max tier star charged redstone alloy that we created. That's going to be used for the bow. Then for our grip blueprint, we're going to be using a phantom membrane, which gives us the ancient 2 trait, which will give us more XP. And then for our binding, we're going to be using this fine silk that once again, max grade, star charge 3, and we'll grab that, we'll put it here. So now what we need to do is combine our Tyrian steel alloy bow limbs with our aluminum alloy rod and our string that we created, and that will give us our Tyrian steel alloy bow, which we're then going to combine with our netherite alloy coating, our redstone alloy tip, phantom membrane grip, and our fine silk binding. That right there is the bow that we are trying to create. So next up, we are going to move on to enchants, reforging, and gems for this bow. But before we do, I want to go ahead and make this arrow. I'm going to go ahead and grab all of the parts that we don't have yet. I already have the coating ready to go. All I need is the fletching, the tool rod, and the arrow. We're going to go ahead and make all the alloys that we need for this. And then also we're going to go ahead and work on the grading for all of those things. All right, the aluminum alloy is done. It is now grade max. We still need to star charge it, but we're going to go ahead and move on to the Tyrian steel. All right, both of those are maxed out now, as well as our spruce leaves. So let's go star charge everything real quick, and then we'll actually build these arrows. Now, the beauty of doing this at night is that tick accelerating the starlight chamber not only accelerates the speed at which things get star charged, but it also accelerates the rate at which it recharges itself. So that's incredibly convenient as well. Head back up here to the top. We'll throw our arrow template in with our Tyrian steel alloy. Throw the tool rod in with the aluminum alloy. Throw the fletchling in with our spruce leaves. And then we'll combine all three of those to make our Tyrian steel alloy arrows, which we will then throw our netherite steel alloy coating on. So these are the arrows we're going to use with this bow, but we're going to make this bow even better. So just to kind of give an idea, right now, this guy's going to do like about 3,500 damage on a crit hit, and a little less than that on any other hit. However, we still have all of Apotheosis and enchants that we can add to this. So we'll start with Apotheosis, throw this guy in here. We're gonna need some more sigils of rebirth. And really what we're looking for here is just to max out damage and or the number of sockets that we have available to us. What we're gonna do is just make sure that we don't have anything in here that has 4 sockets available. We'll throw a wooden sword in just to reset it. And then we'll throw it back in again to see what new things we have. There we go. So we have one that has 4 empty sockets on it. So we're going to take this one and then we're going to change some of the options on there using the augmenting table. So in this augmenting table, we're basically just going to need some of these sigils of enhancement and then a pretty decent amount of XP. So we'll throw it in. I don't care about luck too much. I definitely want to increase arrow velocity. So we'll go ahead and upgrade this one already to the max level. Now, some of these effects like Wither 2, I don't really care about because it's going to be doing a lot of damage anyways. 61% chance of shooting a second arrow is really good to have. We'll go ahead and upgrade that. Potential is an increase of damage, so we'll go ahead and do that. Increase arrow damage, and we'll upgrade that all the way to the max level. We're going to make sure our draw speed is maxed out. And then increase arrow damage all the way up. I need more XP again. So this time we're doing Elven. And we're going to max it out. 40% arrow damage. Streamlined is already maxed out. And the rest of everything, I don't really care about that much. You can upgrade them if you want, but I don't care enough to do it. So next, what we're going to want to do is go ahead and add on our gems because we're already talking about Apotheosis. So the 4 we're going to be adding are going to be Gems of the Combatant, Lightning Gems, Gems of the Samurai, and Gem of the Warlord. So these Gems of the Combatant are going to give you an extra 55% arrow damage straight off. The Perfect Lightning Gem is going to give you an extra 55% of your arrow velocity. The Gems of the Samurai are going to give you an extra 50% of crit chance. And the Perfect Gem of the Warlord is going to give you an extra 70% crit damage. So those right there, as far as I can figure it, are the best combo of things that you can add to a bow to maximize the damage that you're going to be doing. So we've got all of those. The only thing we need to worry about now is enchants. Now there are a couple enchants that are definitely better. If you throw your bow into one of these libraries that are through Apotheosis, it'll show you all of the ones that can stick specifically to your bow. Now the ones we really want are Endless Quiver. We want whatever our max level of power is. Unbreaking is incredibly nice, as well as Tombstone Soulbound. Plaguebringer, I go 50-50 on. It applies negative effects to enemies that are hit. It can be good, but I never really see it have that much of an effect with high damage weapons like what we're making. And then there are some extras that you can get, like Quick Draw and a couple other things. However, I'm not super worried about that for this bow particularly. I do want to throw it in here just to kind of see what I get. Yeah, I'm not worried about any of those. So we're going to take this bow over to our anvil and combine the book we just put together with it to get us all of those enchants. So this bow has an incredible amount of damage on it now, and using the arrows that we have, it should do a pretty decent amount. Yeah, so that did about 20,000 damage on the first swing. So you're doing 10,000 plus damage per second no matter what you do, and you're not using up any of the arrows that you spent a lot of time, money, and effort making. So this right here, with the amount of damage it's doing on a crit hit especially, Does enough damage where it should be able to 1 or 2 shot just about anything that you're going to come across. And to show that off, just like everybody does, we're going to go find ourselves a piglich. All right, here we go. Another ancient pyramid. There we go. We got some piglins. Okay, so if I land, piglins, pigliches, 1 shot, 1 shot. Oh, this one actually took 2. 2 shots. So, yeah, this bow kind of does exactly what you need it to do. And it means that you don't have to stand next to anything in order to kill it. Yeah, hopefully this helps keep you alive a little bit. All right, there you have it. That is the strongest bow in all the mods 10 that I can figure out how to make. It does about 8,000 to 10,000 damage per arrow, which is absolutely ridiculous. And with Endless Quiver, it never runs out of these special arrows that you made using Silent Gear. Now, again, I'm not great with Silent Gear, so if there are any ways that you know of how to improve this, please feel free to leave those in the comment section down below. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are watching this video that want to know if there's a way to do it better than what I just showed, so any of your comments are incredibly appreciated. Also, if you're interested in the world that I've been showing in all of these videos, there is a world download section on my Discord. You can download the world, get in there, play it yourself. And what I've noticed is that it really helps people set up their own configurations for different mods that they're working through or different devices that they may not know how to automate. So if you're looking for something or if you have a question on something, that's there for you. But that's all for this video. Don't forget, you're special, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.